Hey, it's Shane Phillips here from the Travel Channel, and I want to start out this program today by asking you a simple question. Are you stressed? Do you feel as if the stress is consuming you and taking over your life to a point where you can't even sleep at night? You need some relaxation. You need an escape. You need the Taiga Biome. As you may be able to tell from this picture, our stress-free biome is located in the northern region of the planet and is Earth's largest terrestrial biome. In addition to being the planet's largest biome, the taiga is said to generate enough oxygen on its own to be able to supply the entire planet. So if you're looking for a place where you can breathe well to enhance your relaxation, you know exactly where you should be heading. But wait, it gets even better because there are a total of 10 different ecoregions within the taiga biome that you can choose from. There's the Alaska Peninsula Montane Taiga, the Cook Inlet Taiga, the Copper Plateau Taiga, the Northwest Territories Taiga, the Northern Canadian Shield Taiga, the Southern Hudson Bay Taiga, Eastern Canadian Shield Taiga, the Scandinavian and Russian Taiga, the East Siberian Taiga, and finally but not least, the Northeast Siberian Taiga. I know. It's a lot to take in. But let me tell you a little bit more about these taigas. The climate of the taiga is usually characterized by short summers and very long cold winters, with the average annual temperatures ranging from negative 11 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius. The average temperature falls below freezing for 5 to 7 months out of the year. If you're a fan of snow, then you're in luck, because although this biome is exposed to low precipitation with only about 200 to 755 millimeters annually, snow may cover the ground for up to 9 months out of the year. That snow is just absolutely beautiful. During and after the thawing of this snow, fog becomes quite predominant and blocks out the sunlight. Although this can be a bad thing for many plants, it also allows for precipitation to exceed evaporation, therefore leaving sufficient water to sustain the dense vegetation that makes this biome so gorgeous and supports the life of so many of its organisms. Yes, I know, it is quite a feast for the eyes. So, there are two major types of taiga, or in other words, boreal forests. There are the northern high boreal forest with colder seasons, farther spaced trees, and lichen ground cover. And then there are the close canopy forests in the south, which have the longest, warmest growing seasons of the biome. Although the words are interchangeable, taiga, which is the Turkish word meaning coniferous forest, is most commonly used to refer to the biome's more barren northern locations, while boreal forest, which is named after Boreas, the Greek god of the north wind, is used for the more temperate southern areas. When it comes to the northern region, most of the trees are pretty similar. If you were to take a trip to Russia or Siberia, you'd be seeing mostly spruces, pines, and larches, such as the Daryan larch, Siberian spruce, Siberian fir, or as we have in this picture, the Siberian stone pine. As we get close up, notice the straight, stiff, needle-like leaves. If you look close enough, you'll be able to see that these leaves grow in bundles of 5. However, if you were to travel to a more southern region per se, the tree species would vary a bit. In these warmer areas, the taiga has higher species diversity, with more warmth-loving species such as the Korean pine, the Jezo spruce, and the Manchurian fir. The reason being that, at this point, the biome merges gradually into the mixed temperate forest and into the coniferous temperate rainforest. However, that's enough with trees. I'm sure you're eager to hear all about the wonderful animals that you would encounter in the taiga. Especially if you were to visit the western taiga, then you would be seeing animals such as the Canadian lynx, the snowshoe rabbit, the marten, or one of my personal favorites, the bobcat. Ferocious killers, and at the same time, cute furry friends. Bobcats are found throughout most of North America and southern Canada. In the early to mid 1900s, bobcat numbers decreased due to increase in value of their fur. However, on a happier note, if you are a bird lover, then you are in luck. The taiga of the western world is home to the whooping crane, which at an average height of 5 feet tall is the tallest bird in North America. Other birds that inhabit the taiga of the western world include the surf scotter, the bufflehead, and the common golden eye. However, if you were to travel to the taiga of the eastern world, then you would be seeing bird species such as the golden eagle, the Siberian spruce grouse, and the great gray owl. All of these animals interact with each other either as a producer, a consumer, or a decomposer. This diagram shows how primary producers use energy from the sun in order to create their food, which is then eaten by primary consumers, who then are eaten by secondary consumers, who then are occasionally eaten by tertiary consumers. In the event that any of the producers or consumers die, their organic material is then broken down through a chemical process by decomposers so that they can be recycled back into the nutrient cycle. Every time one of these interactions takes place, the organism that is feeding on another only gets 10% of the energy that that organism obtained from its last feeding. Here is an example of a primary consumer at work feeding on a primary producer. This is a moose, which is the largest type of deer in the world. Like all deer, moose are herbivores. As seen here in this clip, moose are particularly big fans of the aquatic plants that grow along the bogs and streams of the taiga. But sadly, the moose is only a primary consumer. Because before you know it, boom! Out of nowhere comes a tertiary consumer. In this situation, the tertiary consumers are wolves, and they are attempting to feed on a baby moose. Although the Taiga biome can be a safe haven of peace and tranquility, there is no doubt that it has its excitement if you are willing to look for it. But don't worry, I haven't forgotten about all you soil lovers out there. The soil of the Taiga biome often contains a permafrost, which is a layer of permanently frozen soil. This soil layer contains lots of rocks left behind by glaciers in the Ice Age. Permafrost also prevents water from draining from top layers of soil, creating muskegs. It also restricts roots from taking up water. When the permafrost eventually does thaw, the ground tends to sag, causing trees to tilt at weird angles. Overall, the soil in the taiga tends to be young and lacking nutrients, which you may be able to tell from the color of the soil in the picture. This is because the cold prevents organic material from decomposing. However, soil is very acidic in the taiga due to all the fallen pine needles, and the forest floor tends to be covered in moss and lichens. The biggest issue facing the Taiga biome is large-scale logging. However, attempts are being made to correct the problem, such as the replanting policy that has been put in place by the Canadian government. However, people who replant are replanting the forest as a monocrop. This hurts the biome because it decreases biodiversity. However, in the end, the taiga still maintains most of its beautiful forestry, so even if you are not stressed out, come to the taiga and be awestruck by its sublime beauty.